we're going to a different economy, and we're going to be learning more about that as we go. But clearly, we're learning that things can be done from remote locations. We're learning that technology can replace people even more than we thought.
We're not going back to the same economy. We're recovering, but to a different economy, and it'll be one that is more leveraged to technology. And I worry that that is going to make it even more difficult than it was for many workers.
In Silicon Valley, and my friends who work in technology know that what we did to the manufacturing workers, we are now going to do to the retail workers, the call center workers, the fast food workers, the truck drivers, and then even bookkeepers, accountants, insurance agents, lawyers, and on through the economy. So
welcome to the Crypto Teacher. And guys, you know I come back with that video just to make you think. And this one is on the cashless society. So I want us to look at the actual paradigm shift from where we were, where we're at now, and then plus America and China. Now, this first video you're going to watch is in 2017, going over the cashless society for China. And you get to see that they're 5 years ahead of us. Now, the second video is in 2019. I wanted to do 2 videos before the actual pandemic. So in 2019, we look at a congressman that actually gets cash accepted in businesses that were trying to ban cash. But now when we moved in 2020, we had the pandemic, which of course that got rid of cash. Now everybody's going towards a cashless society, and we're not going back. So you see the paradigm shift and how quickly it changed within 1 year. Not only that, guys, we see how China is moving forward, already testing their digital currency, which is going to destroy the US dollar. And then also by China making their currency digital yuan mandatory, moving out these private cryptocurrencies like Bitcoin, that's going to take away from the actual value. Because remember, when it comes to the New World Order, everything is planned out. Enjoy the rest of the video.
Days of overstuffed wallets in your back pocket or purse might soon come to an end. By 2020, mobile wallets on our smartphones are expected to surpass the use of credit and debit cards in the U.S. That has already happened in China. Ben Tracy is in Beijing to show us what a nearly cashless society actually looks like. Ben, good morning.
Good morning. So when I moved here to China a couple of months ago, I kept getting funny looks every time I would pull cash out of my wallet to pay for things. And then I got one of these. It's a code on my phone, and now I can basically buy anything here in China. When you pay for something, how do you pay for it?
Mobile phone.
On the streets of Beijing, cash is definitely not king.
What do you think of people who use cash to pay for things?
That's rare and weird, he says. Only the elderly and people who don't know how to use a phone pay cash. This woman says, I rarely take my wallet when I go out, just my phone. That's because those phones can buy just about anything, from clothes in the store to steamed buns on the street. They're used to pay for bike rides and bus rides, rent and utility bills.
When was the last time you used cash? A month ago? Wow, that's a long time.
WeChat and Alipay dominate China's mobile market, and payments on their platforms totaled more than $5.5 trillion last year, a 200% jump from the year before, and nearly 50 times more than the value of mobile payments in the U.S.
One of the big reasons mobile payments have caught on so quickly here in China is because of what most people here don't have in their wallets: credit cards. They basically went from a cash-based society to a cashless one and skipped the step in between.
China has leapfrogged the U.S. into going to a cashless society.
Andy Mock is an economist in Beijing. He says China's cashless revolution has happened in just 3 years, largely thanks to these things called QR codes. You simply scan them with your phone to pay. Nearly every business and person has one. From the farmer's market to the musician on the street playing for a mobile tip.
You can give a homeless person money with your phone. You would never see that in the U.S.
All you have to do is scan that code to transfer money. And it really is ubiquitous in China, from the largest cities, the fanciest hotels, to the most humble street-side shacks will all use QR codes.
The Chinese are comfortable doing everything on their phones, while in the U.S., credit cards and online shopping via personal computers still rule.
These kinds of legacy technologies make any adoption of newer generations of technologies much more slower. So in this sense, I think the U.S. has a little bit of catching up to do.
A recent survey found that 40% of Chinese people carry less than $15 on them, but they would never dream of leaving home without this. As one guy told me on the street, you can't achieve anything without your phone.
A basic product.
The thing is, Greenlee is a Philadelphia city councilman. And so he proposed and passed legislation making Philadelphia the first city in the country to force retailers to take cash.
Unfortunately, Philadelphia has been called the poorest big city in America, which means that, there are people who do not have credit. Telling people who do not have the ability to have credit that you can't buy a basic product is not treating people fairly.
Poor people have a lot of serious problems.
Mm-hmm.
Why focus on the right to buy a $14 salad or a $5 coffee when there are other more pressing issues?
Well, I guess I would say we can do more than one thing at a time.
In an era of vast income inequality and skepticism over fast-moving tech, William Greenlee had stumbled upon a strangely galvanizing issue. San Francisco and New Jersey followed with similar bills. Legislators from New York City and Washington, D.C. have called him for advice.
I think it hit a nerve with people, to be perfectly honest with you.
What's the nerve?
You're telling me that I can't use the currency of the United States of America?
14, 15?
Just last year, cashless seemed cool. The owners of Dos Toros Taqueria told CBS News they rarely had to turn away customers wanting to use cash.
That's where everything's going. I know China's basically there already. India's halfway there.
Two Forks, another fast casual spot, touted the increased efficiency of going cashless.
With every cash transaction, the payment process was slowing down significantly.
What a difference a year has made. At least one cashless company, Sweetgreen, is now accepting cash again, and the others don't seem excited to talk about it. We reached out to every cashless company we could find, and none of them would speak to us on the record. In the past, they've argued cash is a headache to manage. It slows down the line and leaves stores vulnerable to theft. You see this trend continuing. We won't be using cash.
We'll be using less and less.
Economics professor Ken Rogoff was willing to talk about the problems with cash. He's the author of The Curse of Cash and argues, among other things, hard money fuels crime.
Human trafficking, drug smuggling, big-time tax evasion.
It would be better, he thinks, if we were more like Sweden, where cash has nearly been phased out. And the U.S. will get there too, Rogoff says, in another 5 or 10 years.
There's no question that cash, is in its last era. Electronic payments are being favored by consumers. Forget the businesses. We're on the Harvard campus here. If you talk to my undergraduates, they'll say, well, what do we need cash for unless we're buying marijuana?
That's pretty funny.
If and when cash fades away, Rogoff has an idea for helping the 20 million Americans who live in unbanked households, meaning they don't have any bank or credit accounts.
It would not be that expensive to provide free, basic debit cards to people. And a number of other countries have done this. India's done it. I mean, if India can afford to do it, we can afford to do it.
But the march from paper money to the digital future has taken a notable detour in Philadelphia. As the city considered its cashless ban, Amazon warned officials that the legislation would discourage them from opening a cashless Amazon Go store in Philly. But in the end, it was not William Greenlee who caved.
I understand Amazon Go, am I saying it right?
Yeah.
They do take cash. They did not at first, and then they have decided to do it.
That might have something to do with you.
Well, maybe. Not just me, but I think the fact that this anti-cashless thing is spreading around, I think it did have something to do with it. I don't apologize for doing this.
And guys, you listen to the Professor Rogoff, which we know he's a paid puppet. He states that hard money is for drug smuggling, human trafficking, tax evasion. But we know, guys, what? The banks are the biggest drug dealing, money laundering, gun running son of a guns. Have a wonderful night.